Hi everyone, welcome back to, or I should say welcome to the first episode of the Dynamic Digital World. There we go. Oh my god, that is such a tongue twister. Why would I choose such a long podcast name? First episode. So if you've seen the teaser, and you kind of taken a listen to that before listening to this, you kind of know the format that this podcast is going to be coming out in. Now, it's quite late in the week, so I'm going to have to really squeeze those 3 episodes together, which is why I'm actually doing this episode now, because it gives me an excuse for my episode tomorrow to kind of be the next day. Because later today at 9 p.m. British time, we are having PS5 reveal. I am so excited. I'm an Xbox gamer. I have an Xbox, but I also have PS4. My PlayStation is actually newer than my Xbox. I got my Xbox in, I think, 2013, so just when it came out, actually. I'm quite an original Xbox One owner, not one of the Day 1 editions or anything, but one of the first ones that was out. It was kind of in the year that it was released, I think. Either 2013 or 2014. Don't quote me on that. Then I've had my PS4 since about last year, so no, I think either last year or the year before. I think it might have been the year before last. Again, don't quote me on any of this. I cannot remember when I got this. The last couple of years have been a complete roller coaster for me in terms of events happening. But I'm super psyched for PS5. We had loads of Xbox Series X news. If you want to, I'm really sorry, I'm going to try and do an Xbox Series X dedicated podcast, but basically what's going on with this podcast, which I didn't actually explain, is that this is a revamp of the old Tech Weekly podcast. You probably haven't heard of it, but it was a podcast I used to run. I ran it for about 3 or 4 months, but I wanted to change things up, and it can't be a whole rebrand, so I wanted to get on as many platforms as possible. If you're listening to this right now, then you're probably thinking, hang on, wait, this is on, say, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Overcast, which you can link to Apple Podcasts in a way. You'd be 100% right. It's just taking a couple extra days to be on those platforms. I've been in touch with Apple, and Google Podcasts is kind of processing. They both just said it's taking a bit longer due to the current situation going on with the pandemic, and it should be sorted out fairly soon. So yeah, it'll be on those platforms soon. So if what you're listening on right now isn't, say, your platform of choice, don't worry. I think we are now on TuneIn. Let me double check the email I just got. Oh god, here we go. So we are officially. So anyway, whilst I wait for that to load, let's kind of go over what we've got in today's episode. So in today's episode, we have got Snapchat and a few small redesigns. Nothing super major as far as I can tell, but some nice small additions. WWDC is obviously, for those of you who don't know, on June 22nd. It's the Apple Developer Conference, so some very important stuff could come out from there. Then we've also got Android 11's first open public beta is out now. Again, this is pretty monumental, as The Verge's review. And this is what we're going to say. So this is kind of a quote from The Verge's review, a small snippet of what we're looking at here with this first beta. I've been using a build close to what Google released today for a week. So what Google released on the actual day is just slightly ahead of, is just slightly better for one than he was testing. So he said, I've been using a build close to what Google released today for a week, and I haven't had any catastrophic crashes, but there may have been some bugs. Now, this is beta software being tested here. This is not developer beta, this is public preview, where it kind of just final tweaks, final kind of user-facing features that users will want to give feedback on. And to hear that there've been no catastrophic crashes or anything, I know what it's like to use a beta version of Android on a phone. I had a Nexus 5X. I got that in 2016. It lasted me till 2018. I got it a year late, and I didn't do quite enough research and found out about the issues surrounding the processor just as it started happening just as it happened to my phone. So it was a really frustrating thing. I was due for an upgrade anyway, thank the Lord, but that could have been a lot worse for me. So, it was just the right time. Just as the 2-year mark was about to meet its day. But yeah, but that crash wasn't actually due to base software, that was a hardware issue. But the base software on there had been quite buggy for me, but I've been able to daily drive it. I got lucky again with the quality of beta software that Google puts out for the public betas. So yeah, I'm just checking here now, and it is official. My podcast will be live on TuneIn within the next 24 hours. So if you're someone who, say, you found this on Spotify, but you prefer to listen to podcasts on TuneIn, it'll be there within the next 24 hours. I'm afraid at this minute you will have to search in. I am working on just a small basic website with my podcast name and then a way to access kind of all of the different websites that has it on there, but it's a bit slow going at the minute. I'm kind of trying to build it from scratch, as I want to be able to customize it more with maybe blog posts and stuff in the future. So anyway, that's kind of enough basic intro about what I have to say. Let's get straight into it, and let's start with Android 11. So the headline is Android 11 may be the best texting platform if you use multiple chat apps. Notification aggregation instead of notification aggravation. That is, this is quite monumental. Now, this is a phrase I never thought I would hear about Android, but right now, Dieter John, the writer of this review, says, right now I find that Android 11 offers a more enjoyable and more coherent overall messaging experience than iOS. Just put that into context when you say you're an Android user. Almost everyone has heard of iOS and their messaging platform, iMessage. It is leaps and bounds ahead of the non-universality, I should say, that you get with Android in terms of its SMS and Google releasing 100 messaging applications for you every year. It's miles ahead. But what he's talking about is not that Google's got a proper messaging system that works on all the smartphones, but it's now grouping your notifications. Now, what this means is that it's grouping all of your kind of conversations, so all of your messaging apps. So your WhatsApp, I'm assuming probably your Snapchat at some point, your normal messages, obviously, Facebook Messenger, all of that kind of stuff into a specific area of your notifications at the very top. So normally when I'm scrolling through notifications, iPad or phone, obviously on my iPad it's less common that I'll be getting messages apart from my iMessage. But I'll kind of see, oh hey, I got the Snapchat icon on here. And it turns out that even though it's only 5 along on my thing on my kind of screen on here, it's actually about 10-20 downwards. And I have to scroll to the very bottom of my notification list just to go onto my Snapchat. That can be really annoying. So seeing that in its own dedicated area right at the top is definitely something I'm looking forward to. There's also going to be like priority contacts and stuff. So if you set someone onto priority on your normal messages app, it'll actually show their face in the status tray. So that could be really handy for you. And they're also going to be doing a bubble feature. Now, no apps fully support it yet. It's going to be a while for them to actually start supporting it. I imagine it'll probably happen around the time it fully comes out. But it could be quite good. Now, what Google has done here, it's basically taken what used to appear in one place and made them appear on another place. So, on my Android phone, I'm just going to use my phone here as an example for this. I've got a Samsung phone, and I love Samsung phones. The phones I've gone through so far are, I had one from, if you're old enough to remember this, you'll remember I'm currently 15, so I'm right on a line between being able to remember this and not. My first phone was actually a Orange own brand phone. So Orange is an old mobile carrier from the UK. I think they're still in a couple countries, I'm not too sure. It was an own brand smartphone that got kind of eaten by a couple of dogs I had. It was about a week after I first got it, so I was devastated. Then I got a BlackBerry. I think it was a BlackBerry. A Nokia. I got a Nokia. Not touchscreen, just keypad Nokia phone. Then a good few years after that, when I was in, a good few years after that, I was really liking I don't know why, I was really stupid for it, but it was in, I think, 2015, so about 5 years ago now. Windows 10 was coming out, and I really liked what they were doing with Windows, and I kind of had a whole Windows setup in my room. I had a Windows computer, and they said about all of this fluency between a Windows phone and a Windows computer, messaging on Windows 10, kind of like what Apple has with their iPhones. So I thought, hey, I'll get a Windows phone because, I'll be able to message from my computer on it, and it will have all of these apps, because they were saying that they would have all of these apps. I'd vaguely heard of Android, however, the phones that I wanted, ironically, it was my Nexus 5X that I got the year after that. It was too expensive for me at the time, so I got a Windows phone. That Windows phone was okay, but it was a real hassle to use. I loved using it when I had it, but the next year I said to my mum, please can I change phone? I was practically begging her because I couldn't use Snapchat, I couldn't use I think I had Instagram, but it was like the most limited experience ever. Now, all of these limitations on my phone, I just saw my friends going away downloading all of these apps on their phones, and me being like, yeah, well, I got a Windows phone, so I can't do it. And I was and it was like, kind of like you're that one kid who's got the phone that nobody else has. Android, I would definitely say, much better than Windows Phone, which is now dead. And back onto why I like Samsung. So my Nexus died after 2 years. It just completely died on me. I have managed to restore it, but now it's broken again. I just restored it for the fun of it. I love to mess around with firmware and stuff on phones, especially when they're broken, because I want to see if I can get it working again. And now I'm on my Samsung. So I've had my Samsung for almost 2 years now. So I'm getting an upgrade in September. And this Samsung phone has a feature called Pop Out. And I know I just went on a bit of a rant there, but this is what this new bubble feature is kind of like. So it's a bit less kind of seamless. You kind of have to activate it yourself. But what you do is you go into the multitasking view, then you press and hold on the icon, and you just press open in pop-up view. So then it kind of just got a small floating icon, and you can make it a small floating icon, just drag it around anywhere on here. And then say, I also want that with my Google Play Store app. I've now got the Google Play Store and pop-up. So say you had like a few apps that you like to use a lot of the time, and you don't want to have to relaunch them. You just kind of want to be able to pop them up on top of everything. Then you can kind of just set that up using this pop-up feature. It's really good, and it's really helpful for it. So that's kind of what bubbles are going to be like, except it's driven directly by your notifications. So that's kind of what that is. Then I just want to quickly go on to the power menu. So all of you who use an Android phone will know, especially if you're an Android 9 or Android 10, you press the power button. On Samsung, you get a big screen that has the three buttons come up. On Google, you just get three icons on the right hand side. I much prefer the standard Pixel implementation. I'm really hoping Google does go along with that. Samsung does go along with that for Android 11. I won't find out until Android 11 comes out on my phone. I'm going to be getting a Galaxy A51. Very good budget mid-ranger. Verge reviewed it, said it was really good. So, well, they said it was a good enough phone for people who don't need amazing speed. That's me. I cannot transfer to an iPhone. I've got too much on my Android phone. So, kind of a bummer. And I kind of managed to set up a whole ecosystem with an Android phone. Ecosystem with Android is not easy. A lot of third-party apps. So, actually, you know what? If you guys want to hear kind of a podcast how to do it, and maybe even a video tutorial on how to do it, then let me know. If you go onto the Anchor website, so you should be able to find a link on almost everywhere that says View Podcast website. On that, there's a thing called messages. Press on that and leave me like a voice message just saying, "Hey Luke, show us how to do that thing with the ecosystem with your Android phone." I can show you how to do it for both Linux and Windows. I can do it in 2 different videos. I'll probably do it anyway, but if you guys want it back, I can speed it up and do it quicker. Anyway, so there's a whole power menu, new power menu screen coming up anyway. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to have your power buttons will now be at the very top of the screen. Then just underneath that, you'll have your cards. So if you use Google Pay, then you'll have your Google Pay cards. Also, sorry about that sound effect. I accidentally hit my mic. So just below that, you'll have your Google Pay cards. I'm not sure if you have, say, Samsung Pay on a Samsung phone. I don't know if Samsung will say choose between Google Pay or Samsung Pay. They could well do. It would definitely be a nice choice to have. And Google will probably do the same in reciprocating that for Samsung Pay. Then Google, stupid Google Assistant. Then there's also underneath that going to be Google Home, Smart Home. So you can change your light settings, your blind settings if you have smart blinds. You can kind of control all your smart stuff, all from the power menu. So it's quite an efficient way of controlling your smart home and your cards and your power settings all in one big screen. So that's everything for that. Let's quickly go on to Snapchat, because Apple's a fairly big topic, so let's do a small one here. Sorry this is a long episode. I'll try and make them shorter in the future. Now, Snap's kind of got 2 small features, so they're changing the UI a bit. So they're just swiping once to the left, swiping once over messages and once over for stories. If you swipe, so if you're dragging your thumb to the left and you're opening up the stories tab, you'll now have 2 swipes that you can perform, one for stories and one for shows. So those are things. So those tabs were both already there actually, but now they're going to be separated out and very obviously separated. And then on the left you'll have your messages and then also the Snap map. Now that you would normally have to, previously had to drag it down from the top to access. So that's quite a nice change for them to make. Now, along with this, they're actually introducing a menu bar for the first time ever with Snapchat. So instead, you'll be able to tap on the icons to get to it, but it is just a swipe to the right or a swipe to the left for the first 2 as you're used to it. They're not going anywhere. At the same time of doing this, they're also announcing minis. Now, there's 7 to start. So one includes an app to schedule a Coachella music festival. To coordinate your schedule at the next Coachella music festival. A small version of Headspace to meditate and send messages to friends. Movie tickets for buying tickets. And Tembo, a way to create flashcard decks for studying. This could be quite handy, as especially right now, we're all kind of in the a lot of us are in lockdown right now, we'll be able to kind of share more with our friends and do more. So that's going to be quite interesting. Now, another couple of things quickly. I've said about navigation bar, obviously, it's going to be quite good. Snap Maps will now display information about local businesses. You will be able to scan plants and dogs. Plants and dogs. So you'll be able to identify 90% of plants and trees, and nearly 400 breeds of dogs. And another integration coming later this year called Yuka will let you scan packaged foods for nutrition information. You can submit public snaps to topics like life hacks or oddly satisfying. And they're also announcing 10 new games for the built-in games in your chats. So if someone who uses those, this could be quite good for you. Let's quickly go on to WWDC. If you're wondering kind of why I'm rushing this, I've got a 30-minute recording limit, so it's just a bit of a pain to then kind of have to swap over. So WWDC will take place at 1 PM Eastern Time on June 22nd. I don't have the UK time to hand. You know what? Let's ask Google. Hey Google, what is 1 PM Eastern Standard Time in the UK?
1800 Thursday in United Kingdom.
Okay, so 1 PM Eastern Standard Time will be about 6 o'clock here in the UK. So if you're in the UK and you want to watch WWDC, 6 o'clock on June 22nd, you can expect to hear stuff about iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, tvOS, macOS, basically everything Apple develops. And there's a big rumour right now that Apple will be ditching ARM-based processors for next year's Macs, not this year, don't worry. Especially if you're a developer, that would be quite a change. But next year they could ditch Intel processors for ARM processors made by themselves on a Mac. All I'm saying is I hope that they either don't do it wholeheartedly and completely ban you from using Intel processors, as a lot of apps, for example Android Studio, and if you're a developer, this could be devastating for you. As far as I'm aware, there's no ARM-based version of Android Studio, Visual Studio, or Unity. So those are kind of three of the main things I can think of. So hopefully this will be a gradual transition as developers get more used to developing for it. But yeah, that's interesting. So if they do that, it will be a significant blow for Intel. But it should be good. If you want to watch it, it'll be on the developer app, their own website, Apple TV app, and YouTube. And in case you're wondering where you can watch it else, some other places include Tencent, IQIYI, Bilibili, and Youku. That's for places in China, so don't worry about that. And they completely reconstructed the conference as an online-only event and is free for anyone who's interested to watch and take part in. So that's going to be quite interesting to see, especially if they do announce ARM chips from next year. We already know that there's a rumour that next year will be the year of portless iPhone, so next year could be quite a dramatic shift for Apple. No more Intel and no ports on any of their iPhones. The no ports on any of their iPhones, I think they're going to have to do a substantial thing for wireless charging, which unfortunately Apple have kind of really made me skeptical of with their, I think it's AirPower fail. I hate to say it, but Apple didn't do very well with that. They straight up couldn't launch it, even though multiple versions of that have now been launched. Yeah, it's quite a shame actually. I'm really looking forward to seeing Apple kind of do that. So, you know. But yeah, that's basically everything. A small note as well though, quickly, just if you use WhatsApp. If you're a WhatsApp user, there's a small vulnerability on there. It doesn't really matter unless you use the push to talk feature, but your phone number have probably been indexed by Google. Now, there's a very specific thing you have to search to find it, and I don't know, Google could have taken it down and said, we gotta remove all the indexes by now. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but hopefully they will. So yeah, just be careful and keep an eye on your SIM cards and your credit statements as well. Just because your phone number is very important for a lot of verification, obviously, especially in our digital world. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have any kind of comments, then you can email them to me at dynamicdigitalworld20@gmail.com, and obviously, or you can leave a voice message on the Anchor podcast. If you leave a voice message, then please know that I might use it in the podcast itself. So just be aware of that. And I'll see you in the next episode.